الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we continue to go over the explanation of Usul Sunnah by the Fadilat al-Shaykh, the Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala. And we're reading from the explanation of the Allama Shaykh Rabi' bin Hadi al-Madkhali hafidhahullah ta'ala. The Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, he goes on to the next section. And he says, وَالْإِيمَانِ بِالْمِيزَانِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and to have faith in the balance, the scales, and the weighing, يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, on the day of judgment. كَمَا جَاءَ, as it comes in the narration, يُوزَنُ الْعَبْدُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا يَزِنُ جَنَاحَ بَعُوضًا. He says, just as it comes in a narration that has been collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, that a servant will be weighed on the day of judgment and he will not equal the weight of the wing of a fly. And he will not equal the weight of a wing of a fly. وَتُوزَنُ أَعْمَالِ الْعِبَادِ, and also that the actions and the deeds of the servant, they will also be weighed. كما جاء في الأثر, as it has come inside of the text, the narrations. والإيمان به والتصديق به والإعراض عمن رد ذلك وترك مجادلته. He says, and believing in it, we have to believe in it, and we have to attest to its truthfulness, and we have to affirm it, and we have to turn away from all those who reject it. And we have to abandon arguing with them. We have to turn away from all those who reject it and abandon arguing with them. Shaykh Rabi' hafidhahullah ta'ala, he goes on and he says, speaking about the statement of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْمِيزَانِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كَمَا جَاءَ, and having faith, having iman in the mizan, in the scales, as it comes in the narration, as we mentioned, that has been collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. يُوزَنُ الْعَبْدُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا يَزِنُ جَنَاحَ بَعُوضًا, that a person, a abd, a slave, he will be weighed يوم القيامة, and he will not even equal the weight of a wing of a fly. Shaykh Rabi' hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says, يُؤْتَى بِرَجُلٍ الْعَظِيمِ السَّمِينِ فَلَا يَزِنُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ جَنَاحَ بَعُوضًا. He said it means that a man, he will come, to show you now that the frame of reference and the scales in the akhirah are different from the scales in this life. Right? That the scales in the akhirah, they differ from the scales in this life. He says, because a man will come, meaning a man will come, and he will be a man who is great in his stature. He will be a man who is heavy set. Right? But with Allah, he won't even equal the weight of a fly. But with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he won't even equal the weight of a fly. هذا فيه دليل على أن الأشخاص يوزنون. He said, in this there is a clear proof that individuals will be weighed as well. That individuals will be weighed. Now, and it's important to understand that it's not just the deeds of the abd, it's not just the deeds of the slave that will be weighed, but also the slave himself, the abd himself, the individual himself will be weighed يوم القيامة. ويورد أو نعم ويورد في حديث ثابت أن ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه, and it comes in the hadith of Thabit that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ارتقى على شجرة الأراك, that he climbed up an arak tree. Now the tree of arak, this is the tree that you take from it the siwak. This is the tree you take from it the siwak. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he climbed up this tree to get a piece of siwak. Naam, so he climbed the tree. ارتقى على شجرة الأراك. وكان دقيق ساقين, but he used to have very skinny calves. His calves were little. He had little legs. Naam, skinny legs. فَتَعْجَبُوا مِنْ دِقَّةِ سَاقَيْهِ. So those who were looking at him scale this tree, climb this tree, they became amazed by the size of his legs, how they were so skinny. Naam. And when the Prophet ﷺ saw them making a to-do about the size of his legs, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا تعجبوا من دقة ساقيه. He said, don't be amazed by the size of his legs. Meaning, don't be amazed by the thinness, right, of his legs. Don't be amazed by that. He said, فَإِنَّهُ مَا أَثْقَلُوا فِي الْمِيزَانِ مِنْ جَبْلِ أُحُدٍ. He said, because verily, those legs, those skinny little legs, he said, they are heavier in the scale than the mountain of Uhud. وهكذا عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه. Hadith has been collected in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. وقال علامة, and the Allama, the Muhaddith Ahmed Shakir rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, isnaduhu sahih, and his chain is authentic. And also the Allama, the Muhaddith Al-Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala, he also graded the hadith as being authentic. So this shows you, and this is clear proof that yes, the deeds will be weighed, but also the servants themselves will be weighed يوم القيامة. نعم. The Shaykh, he says, وَهَذَا دَلِيلُ عَلَى أَنَّ أَشْخَاص يُوزَنُونَ. This is a proof that people will be weighed. People will be weighed. وَأَمَّا الْأَعْمَالِ فَلَا خِلَافَ فِيهَا. And with regards to the actions, and no one disagrees with this, then no one disagrees that actions will be weighed يوم القيامة. نعم. وأنها توزن. No one disagrees that the actions will be weighed يوم القيامة. نعم. But it's important that we understand that the mizan is something that is real. It's not figurative. It's not figurative, but it's something that is real, that the slave will be placed in, that the deeds in the scrolls containing them in the like will be placed in these things. This is not something that is figurative. Naam. And it's important that we understand the likes of this when it comes to everything that comes in the text of the Kitab and the Sunnah. Naam. As Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he says there is no mijaz. The reality is that there is no mijaz. There is nothing that is figurative when it comes to the Kitab and the Sunnah. He said, but rather we understand the meanings of words based upon their context. We understand the meaning of words based upon the context. But there is nothing that is mijaz. And this was a concept that was unknown to the Sahaba. This was a concept that wasn't known to the Sahaba. Because you understand the meaning of words based upon the context. Right? So for example, the Shaykh he brought an example, rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, for example, ayn. He says, ayn fi lughat al-Arab. The word ayn fi lughat al-Arab yadullu ala ma'an. It points to different meanings. Now, from them, al-ayn, kal-ayn fi ras, like the ayn in the head, the eyeball. From them, al-ayn, min al-ma, yushrab min. From it, the ayn, or what's called an ayn, meaning a spring of water that you drink from. Now, وَكَذَلِكَ سُمِّيَ جَسُوسْ عَيْنًا. And also, the spy, he's called an ayn. Right? So if you just said ayn, and you were quiet, nobody will know what you mean. Do you mean an eyeball? Do you mean a spring of water? Or do you mean a spy? What do you mean by ayn? You don't understand the meaning of this particular word until you enter it into a sentence and you see the context of that sentence. So you said, for example, رَأَيْتُهُ بِعَيْنِي. I saw him with my eye. So now you know ayn here means eyeball. Right? Or if you said, شَرَبْتُ مِنْ عَيْنٍ. You said, I drink from my ayn. Then we know now, you're not talking about an eyeball, but you're speaking about a water, a spring of water. Or if you said, وَجَدْتُ فِينَا عَيْنٍ. عَيْنًا. Right? If you said, I found amongst us, عَيْنًا. A spy. Then we know ayn here means spy. And so on and so forth. So there is no mijaz. So when the Prophet ﷺ, he said mizan, right? And we understand that the abd will be placed in the mizan and he won't equal the weight of the wing of a fly, right? Then we understand from that this is something that is real. This is not figurative. It's something that is real. It's important that is pointed out because al-Mu'tazila wa Jahmiyya wa Ahl al-Dalal yankurun al-Mizan al-Mahsus. The Mu'tazila and the Jahmiyya and the people who are astray, they reject a physical, tangible scale. They reject this. Raddu al-Wazn al-Adl. Na'am. But rather they try to say that the weighing means that what justice will be applied and the like. And this is not correct. Because the lugha doesn't point to this. The siyaq, the context, doesn't point to this meaning. But rather it gives us the meaning that there will be a physical scale. There will be a physical scale. Now, the text from the Kitab and Sunnah, let us understand that there will be a physical scale, that the deeds will be weighed in them, and also the servants will be weighed in them as well. وَهَذَا, yani this particular one, that means justice and the justice will be established in the life. هذا قول المعتزلة والجهمية ومن وافقهم من أهل الضلال. This is the statement of the Mu'tazila and of the Jahmiyya and of those who agree with them from the people who are straight. ينكرون الميزان. They reject the mizan. They say there is no mizan. Which shows you the danger of the individuals of bid'ah. Because in light of all of these texts from the Kitab and the Sunnah, who then therefore can have the audacity to reject them and say, no, that's not it? Subhanallah. Now, the Prophet ﷺ is explaining to us that there will be a mizan. Allah Ta'ala, He explains to us in the Quran that there will be a mizan. So who then therefore will have the audacity to say, no, there's not going to be no mizan? But rather that figurative, it means something else. When there's nothing that points to that. There's no text that points to, it's not something that's real, and there's nothing possible, conceivable, that will point to such an understanding that will allow you to reject it. So how? And then based upon what do they reject it? This is why they are extremely dangerous individuals, and this is why we have to make our religion and base our religion on the text. Not because somebody said it, but on the text of the Kitab and the Sunnah. Now, We want text. What did Allah Ta'ala say? What did the Prophet ﷺ say? And now we base our opinion. Now we take our aqidah. Not so-and-so said. Because if you search hard and long enough, you'll find someone that said everything. Now, as the ulama, they say, if you were to follow the mistakes of those whose knowledge is distributed to them, he said that you would make halal music and you would make halal the drinking of khamr. Now, because you had from those who said that khamr was only that which came from grapes. Now, that khamr was only that which came from grapes. But anything else that fermented was not khamr. So if it came from barley, if it came from wheat, if it came from, it's not khamr. Khamr is only that which comes from grapes. And this is, of course, kalam mardud. This is rejected now, and this has been refuted. Because as the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the khamr is that which intoxicates. The khamr is that which intoxicates. Now, so we understand from the text of the Kitab and the Sunnah that it's not something that is restricted to just grapes, to just wine. But whatever intoxicates, then it's khamr. Now, wait. So this is important that we understand. وقال الشيخ ربيع حفظه الله تعالى والميزان له كفتان. And the mizan, it will have two scales. كفتان, two. نعم. توزن فيها الأعمال والأشخاص. That in these scales, the deeds will be weighed, and as we just spoke about, and also the people will be weighed. وَهَذِهِ مِنْ أَدِلَّةٍ. And this is from the proofs that the deeds will be weighed. Because we have a proof that the servant will be weighed, right? That's the hadith that comes from Bukhari and Muslim that we just went over. That's a proof that the servant will be weighed. But a proof now that the deeds will be weighed, because if we're going to say the deeds are going to be weighed, right? And we're speaking about something that's from the ghaib. We're talking about something that's from the unseen. Because Yawm al-Qiyamah hasn't happened yet. Okay? So to speak about it, that's to speak about matters of the unseen. The only way we can do that is on the way of wahi. Is from the revelation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed us of this, that the Prophet ﷺ informed us of this. That's the only way we can speak about it. So as soon as a person says, yes, deeds will be weighed, then now the burden is upon you to establish the proof. But what's the proof? The deeds are going to be weighed. As far as the servant being weighed, then we see from the statement of the Prophet ﷺ that's been collected by Bukhari and Muslim, the servant will be weighed. Okay, if you say the deeds are going to be weighed now we need a proof. We can't accept it without a proof. Right? What is your proof now that the deeds will be weighed? The Shaykh, he says that from the proof that the deeds will be weighed, he said, is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us of, right? Meaning that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed him of, meaning the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah ta'ala, he informed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that this incident is going to take place Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now, that Yawm al-Qiyamah, this incident that we're going to speak about, is going to take place. As it comes in the hadith that has been collected by Imam al-Tirmidhi. Now, and the hadith has also been collected by Imam Ibn Majah. And the hadith has been graded as authentic by the Imam from the Shaykh al-Albani rahimahumullah ta'ala. Now, فقال, in this hadith, that a man will be brought forth, right? And he will have 99 scrolls. 99 scrolls. 99 سجلا. 99 scrolls. Right? في الرواية مد البصر. They will go as far as the eye can see. They will go as far as the eye can see, which is going to be extremely far now. Because remember, as we heard in last week's khutbah, the earth will be leveled. The earth will be leveled. It will be flat. Right? All the hills, all the mountains, all the structures will be leveled. They will be destroyed in the mountains. So the earth will be flat. Okay? So now imagine now, how far is the horizon on flat plains as compared to hilly and mountainous areas? You can see very far. Right? But for riwayah, and in another narration, as Shaykh Rabi' he mentions, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, that these 99 scrolls, تَمْنَأُ مَا بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, that they would encompass and fill up that which is between the heavens and the earth. This is how big these scrolls are. Right? So these are scrolls of a lot of deeds. A lot of deeds. Nah. But these deeds inside these scrolls, not going to be good deeds. The vast majority of these deeds going to be evil deeds. Now, and according to this narration, 99.9% of this scroll is going to be evil deeds. Right? But it will be one. Or 99% if you want to say. But there will be one good deed. Ala kulli hal, it will be said to this person, the owner of these scrolls, Yawm al-Qiyamah, هَلْ لَكَ عَمَلٌ? Do you have any good deeds? هَلْ لَكَ مِنْ خَيْرٍ? Do you have any good? وَهَلْ لَكَ مِنْ عَمَلٍ? Do you have any actions now? Right? فَيَقُولُ, so this man, he will say, لَا يَا رَبِّي. He will say, oh my Lord, no. I don't have any good deeds. And this will be a Muslim. This person will be a Muslim. He will say, I don't have any good deeds. And then it will be said to him, بَلْ لَكَ عِنْدَنَا حَسَنَةٌ. He said, no, rather, you do have with us a good deed. You do have with us a good deed. And then it will be said to him, وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. And your Lord doesn't oppress or wrongdo anyone. No one will be treated unjustly. Na'am. فَتُوضَعُ البطاقة. And this hadith is also called the hadith al-bataqa. Na'am, the hadith of the card. طيب. فَتُوضَعُ بطاقة. So, بطاقة. So this bataqa, it will be put inside the scale. And on this bataqa will be written, La ilaha illallah. Because the person made shahada. He was a Muslim. La ilaha illallah. Na'am. فتوضع لا إله إلا الله في كفة وتوضع هذه سجلات 99 سجلا في كفة. So the card will be placed in one, and these scrolls, as far as the eye can see, filling the heavens and earth, will be put inside the other one. Right? Remember we said that the mizan in the akhirah is not like the mizan now. So it's important to understand. The scale in the akhirah is not like the scale now. So when it's these 99 scrolls we place in one side, as far as the eye can see, filling the between the heavens and the earth. And then this bataqa of La ilaha illallah we place in the other side. فَتَرْجِحُ بِهِمَا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ لِأَنَّهُ لَا يَذْقَلُ مَعَ اسْمِ اللَّهِ الشَّيْءٍ. He said, so the bataqa, the kalima, La ilaha illallah, it will be heavier. It will be heavier. نعم. لأنه لا يذكر مع اسم الله شيئا. Because nothing is heavier than the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because nothing is heavier than the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Naam. This hadith is tremendous right now. This hadith is serious. Right? But this hadith is misunderstood by most people. Most people think that this was just an individual who said La ilaha illallah and that was it. And then he went on his life just doing crazy stuff. Shaykh Salih Fawzan, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he says that this was an individual who said La ilaha illallah. Right? But he knew the meaning. He said La ilaha illallah arifun bima'nah. He knew the meaning of it. He truly knew the meaning of it. Na'am. Wal muqtadah. And he understood that which was necessitated by it. And the proof of this is that what? Is that within these scrolls of evil, it won't be shirk. Won't be shirk. There'll be other stuff, but not shirk. Na'am. It'll be sins, but not shirk. He didn't make shirk. Which shows and illustrates that he knew the meaning of La ilaha illallah. So he just didn't say it, but he knew its meaning. He knew that which was necessitated by it. So therefore he didn't make shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and this is something that's very important to understand, and it shows us the importance of studying and learning the proper meaning of La ilaha illallah. The shurut, its conditions, wa arkan, its pillars, wa muqtada, and that which is necessitated by it. Then this is from ahimmu muhammad. This is from the most important of important things, because the fruits of it are tremendous. Look at this now, 99 scrolls. 99 scrolls. Allahu a'lam how many the scrolls our bad deeds is gonna take up. Allahu a'lam. Allahu a'lam. Na'am. But a person who understands the weightiness of at-tawheed, a person who understands the significance and importance of at-tawheed, he will strive with all his might to make sure if he don't do nothing else, he establishes tawheed. Because he knows from this hadith we see that the person who establishes tawheed, he will not be ruined. He will not be ruined. That his end will be the Jannah for the one who establishes tawheed. Because this is how important and magnificent the tawheed is. Now, this is how important and magnificent the tawheed is. So this shows us now that any call that has any merit has to be that which contains in it tawheed. Now, وَقَدْ وُرِدَ فِي الْحَدِيثِ, and it comes inside another hadith, and this hadith has been collected in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad with the tahqiq of Ahmad al-A'lama al-Imam Ahmad Shakir rahimahullah ta'ala. And the hadith is sahih. قال Imam Ahmad Shakir rahimahullah ta'ala isnaduhu sahih. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لو وضعت السماوات السبع ومن فيهن وأرضين السبع ومن فيهن في كفة ولا إله إلا الله في كفة لمالت بهن لا إله إلا الله. حديث عظيم. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that if the seven heavens, right? The seven heavens, now we can't even imagine a heaven, let alone all seven, how great and vast that is. Huh? But not just the seven heavens. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, As-samawatu sab'a, the seven heavens, وَمَنْ فِيهِنَّ, and the occupants, those who's in them. The seven heavens and the angels in them, and those in them. Right? And we know that the angels are magnificent. They're huge in their size. As we went over, when the Prophet ﷺ, we saw Jibreel alayhi make a last class, right? He covered up that was between the heavens and the earth. When the Prophet ﷺ was allowed to see him in his true size, in his true form, right? He blocked out the horizon. He covered that was between the heavens and the earth. That's only one angel. So, and Allahu a'lam how much he weighs. Allahu a'lam how much he weighs. Na'am. So think about that. Contemplate that. The seven heavens and those who are in them. And the seven earths. So now, multiply, take upon that, on top of that, add to that, the seven earths. And not just the seven earths. Because see, we can't imagine now, just the weight of just one, of earth, the one earth, right? But the seven earths. But yeah, not just the seven earths. وَمَنْ فِيهِنَّ, and those who are in them. Those who are in them. Ya subhanallah. This is a weight that is unfathomable. We can't imagine this weight. But yeah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, if it was put inside of one hand of the scale, and La ilaha illallah was put inside the other hand of the scale, then La ilaha illallah will be heavier than them. Then La ilaha illallah will be heavier. Will be heavier. Naam. That shows you the importance now of the proper aqeedah. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. That shows you the importance of the proper aqeedah. There's nothing better than that. So much so that Imam Ahmad, in contemplating on this, he said that what? He said that the sinners from Ahlul Sunnah, their graves will be like gardens from Jannah. He said, and those who made zuhud, those who abstained from the world, those who gave up the life of this world, from the people of bid'ah, he said that their graves will be like a pit from the hellfire. So a person to say, subhanallah, how are you going to say that? A person who was a sinner, his grave is going to be like a garden from Jannah. And a person who gave up the world, he made zuhud, he abstained from indulging in the glitter in the life of this world, but he was from the people of innovation. But his beliefs were corrupt. His methodology was corrupt. And his will be a pit. See, what's the difference between these two? One did sins. One abstained. What's the difference? One, his aqeedah was sound. And the other one, his aqeedah, fasida. It was corrupted. It wasn't sound. It was upon bid'ah. Na'am. Subhanallah. You see the importance of the aqeedah? You see the importance of the aqeedah? You see the importance of the correct belief? The person with the correct belief, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never allow him to be lost. Never allow him to be lost. Now, this is not this is not a justification to say, okay, go make sense. It's okay. La. It's not saying that. You see? Because the person who has the proper aqeedah, he's going to try not to make sense. Okay? But because he's human, because he's not perfect, he's going to fall into sins. Because that's what happens. People do sins. Right? But the difference is what? Is that is the type of sins that they make. They won't be making sins that are shirk. Because shirk destroys your deeds. They won't be doing shirk. They won't be making sins that equate to kufr. By having improper beliefs in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By disrespecting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By taking his sunnah and throwing it under their feet. Doing what they want to do. They won't be doing these things. Nah. They may do other sins. But nothing like this. You understand? Nothing like this. And that's the difference. That's the difference. Okay? But with that still, you strive your best to stay away from all the sins. Nah? All the sins. But for those who are going to fall into sin, okay? Those who is unavoidable, you're going to make a sin. They understand that from the greatest things that will protect you from those sins is to believe properly in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To believe properly in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why the Imams took so much time in writing books like this, to show us how we properly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because what we're speaking about now is all linked to what? To our belief in the arkan of Iman. In the pillars of Iman, or the articles of faith as they translate them. Because it's belief in Allah, belief in His angels, belief in the books, belief in the messengers, belief Yawm al-Qiyamah, and belief in Qadr. So right now we're speaking about the Mizan. Proper belief in the Mizan is how having proper belief is from having proper belief in Yawm al-Qiyamah. So having proper belief in Yawm al-Qiyamah means what? Having proper belief in everything that the Prophet ﷺ informed us is going to happen after death. Everything is going to happen after death. From the interrogation in the grave, from the grave being like a garden or like a pit, from a person being blessed and rewarded in his grave or being punished in his grave, from the resurrection and so on and so forth, the horns being blown and so on and so forth, right? Everything the Prophet ﷺ informed us about was going to happen after death. All of this enters into belief in the Day of Judgment. So in order for us to have the proper aqeedah, we got to believe correctly in that which is going to happen on the Day of Judgment. So this is why it is tremendous now if a person tries to challenge the belief in the Mizan. Because now he's jeopardizing you from having that protection from your sins by having a proper aqeedah. He's jeopardizing that now. So this is serious now. We don't take this light. You say, no, you playing with my akhirah. You see? So we have to believe in the Mizan. وَشَاهِدْ أَنَّ مِزَانْ ثَابِتْ فِي كِتَابُ السُّنَّةِ. He said, and that which is the point of reference and the proof is that the scale is something that is established in the book and in the Sunnah. It's something that is established in the book and in the Sunnah. Na'am. As Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فِي جَهَنَّمْ خَالِدُونَ. And whoever his scale is light, meaning his scale of good deeds is light, then these will be the ones who would have lost themselves, and will be in the Jahannam forever. And Allah Ta'ala, He says, فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ, and whoever his scale is made heavy, فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ, then he will be in a good life. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ, but for the one who his scale is light, meaning his scale of good deeds is light, فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٍ, then his abode will be the pit. Then his abode, his destination will be the pit. Na'am. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى, Allah Ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 47, وَنَضَعُ الْمِيزَانِ وَنَضَعُ مَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطَ لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَإِنْ كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِّنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَيْنَا بِهَا وَكَفَى بِنَا حَاسِبِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what means, and the mawazin, the scales, the scales of justice will be put out Yawm al-Qiyamah, and no one, not a single soul will be oppressed in the least. Not a single soul will be wrong in the least. إِن كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِّنْ خَرْدَلٍ, even if there was as small as a mustard seed of a deed, even a deed was as small as a mustard seed, أَتَيْنَا بِهَا, then it will be brought forward. It will be brought forward. Now, and we are sufficient to take account. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and we are, meaning Allah, is sufficient to take account. So this is clear that the mizan will be established. Now, the Shaykh, he goes on, and he gets into an issue that is tremendously important. And that issue is pointing out one of the famous Islamic figureheads who has erred in this affair. And it's wajib upon the Shaykh that he points out the likes of these things. And it's wajib upon Shaykh Rabi' hafidhahullah ta'ala, particularly because he has spent much time researching this particular individual so as to warn the Muslims from his mistakes, so that they won't fall into his mistakes, and as a protection for this individual, so that there are less people following him in those mistakes, which means that his sin will increase. Now, and it's from this standpoint, and it is wajib, rad ala mukhalif, shay wajib, to refute the one who has erred is wajib. Now, because this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's deen. You see? So we don't have the right to let things slide. This is what Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah said. Because Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, we know he had many enemies. We know he's Shaykh al-Islam. We know he's from one of the greatest scholars Islam has ever had. Imam. He's an Imam of the deen. But even with that, he had many enemies. He had those who were his opponents, those who fought against him, from the people of innovation. They didn't like what he was saying. They fought against him, lied against him, made plots and plans and tricks to hurt him. So much so that Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, he died in jail. He died in prison falsely because of the lies of his opponents. He died in jail. Na'am. But with that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him victory. Because we know the name of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. We have his works. But does anyone know the name of anyone who fought against him? Do you know the names of any of his opponents? La. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give them tawfiq. Only the ulama and the historians and the like know the names of these people. Whereas most people, they don't know the names of these people. But they know the name Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him tawfiq. Because of what? Because of his proper belief. He stood up for what was right, even though it cost him everything. He stood up for what was right, even though it cost him everything. Ala kulli hal, he's a perfect example of what? That certain things we don't have the right to let slide. Some things we can let slide, but certain things when it comes to Allah's deen, we can't let slide. What does Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah say? Because a person would say a person who was wronged to such an extent that he died in prison, right? You would think that he's probably bitter against those who imprison him. He's probably bitter against his opponents. Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, he said, as far as those who wronged me, as far as those who did what they did against me to hurt me and take from my right, without right, as far as those who wrong me, then I forgive them. I forgive them. It's over. I forgive them. He said, but as far as their infringement upon Allah's deen, he said, I don't forgive that because I don't have the right to forgive that. You see? Things happen to an individual personally, okay, we can let that slide, no problem. But when people go against Allah Ta'ala's deen, they go against the way of the Prophet ﷺ, the deen of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, we don't have a right to say, oh, that's okay, I let that slide. We don't have a right because it's not our deen. It's not ours. Allah Ta'ala will judge these individuals. Na'am. Ala kulli hal, it's incumbent upon us, as it comes in fi hadith Abi Sa'id al-Khudri fima rawahu Muslim fi Sahih, as it comes in hadith of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri that Imam Muslim, he brings in his Sahih, man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, whoever from amongst you sees an evil and change it with his hand. فإن لم يستطيع فبلسانه, if he can't with his hand, then with his tongue. فإن لم يستطيع فبقلبه, and if he can't, then with his heart, and that is the weakest of faith. So this is what gives the right to the likes of Shaykh Rabi' and the likes of the ulama, Jarh wa Ta'deel, to praise and disparage individuals based upon their beliefs, their aqeedah, their hal, so on and so forth. Now, this is what gives them the right. As Shaykh Al-Bani, rahimahullah ta'ala, as we explained in the last class, he didn't graduate from high school. He didn't have a high school diploma. Okay? He didn't have a high school diploma. But yeah. So one time, the Shaykh was explaining that one of the great scholars of Azhar had made a mistake. He had made a mistake in some particular issues and the like. So Shaykh Al-Bani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he corrected him. Now, and at this point, this Shaykh from Azhar, he said, who are you to correct me? I have PhD and, all these degrees and this and this, that and this. He said, who are you to correct me? What gives you the right? What gives you the authority to correct me? Because when you compare my education, meaning, degree-wise and this type of education, Nadamiyya, Madrasa Nadamiyya, he said, you compare these things to what you got? Who gave you the right to correct me? فأجاب الشيخ الباني رحمه الله تعالى, he said, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم gives me the authority to correct you. He said, فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطيع فبلسانه الحديث. Now, he said, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم gives me the right, gives me the authority to correct you. Because he صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, whoever from amongst you sees an evil, change it with his hands. If he can't, then with his tongue, the hadith. Nah. But yeah, so this is something that is wajib. Nah. So Shaykh Rabi', he starts off, he says, وَمَعَ الْأَسَفِ. He said, with great regret, but he has to point it out. He says, Sayyid Qutb, Wallahi, yankiru al-mizan. He says, Sayyid Qutb, by Allah, he's swearing by Allah. He said he rejected the scales. He rejected the scales. Na'am. وَيَنْكِرُ رُؤْيَةِ اللَّهِ. And he also rejected that Allah will be seen Yawm al-Qiyam. He rejected this. Na'am. وَسَارَ مَعَ الْجَهْمِيَّةِ وَالْمَعَ الْمُعْتَزِلَةِ. And he agreed with the Jahmiyyah and he agreed with the Mu'tazila في كثير من العقائد, in many of the beliefs. Na'am. He said, وَاللَّهِ هَذَا حَصَلْ. وَاللَّهِ هَذَا حَاصَلْ. He said, by Allah, this has happened. نعم. He said, وَنَحْنُ نَقُولُ هَذَا لِأَلَّا يَخْدَعُ النَّاسِ بِكُتُبْ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ. He said, and we're saying this not just for no reason, not because we want to talk bad about somebody, anything like this. He said, we're saying this, we're mentioning this, so that people won't be deceived by this man's books. This is why we're saying this. He said, فَإِنَّهَا وَاللَّهِ مَلِيئَةً. He said, because by Allah, his books are filled with dalalat. they're filled with errors and they're filled with misguidance. Ya ikhwa. Na'am. Many individuals have the books of this individual, Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah ta'ala. Na'am. And he's our brother, so we say rahimahullah ta'ala. But they don't read them, so they don't know what the danger contained therein. They don't know that in his books, like Fidlal al-Quran, in the shade of the Quran as they call it, right? They don't know that within his book, he spoke bad about Nabiullah Musa, alayhi salatu wasalam. He spoke bad about Musa, alayhi salatu wasalam. And he said that was tantamount that Musa, alayhi salatu wasalam, that he will get so angry very, very fast because he had something was wrong with his brain. He had some kind of deficiency mentally. A'udhu billah. That's what he said about Nabiullah Musa, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said he would get mad like that because something was mentally wasn't right with him. A'udhu billah. Huh?
What was his proof?
Mafi. He didn't have any proof. Because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He picks the anbiya from the best of men. Those who are noble, those who are honorable, those who are trustworthy, those who are strong, those who have the best characteristics, the most complete human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, calls him that he was strong, trustworthy. Musa alayhi salam, min ulul azm. He was from the anbiya who were the 5 best anbiya rusul. They were strong-willed, very patient, extreme patient, strong-willed. Now I'm the best of the prophets and the messengers. Musa alayhi salam has been mentioned more by name in the Quran than any other human being. Any other human being. Now, so such an honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon Musa, who then therefore can come after that and say anything disparaging about Musa alayhi salam? This is tremendous now. But this is just an example of some of the things that's there. Also from this is that he didn't believe in the Mizan. He didn't believe in the Mizan and didn't believe that we will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Shaykh, he says, Wallahi, في الأصول والأصول الأصول, in the most fundamental principles and from the foundation, he said, you'll find that Sayyid Qutb يتخبط وضاع, that Sayyid Qutb he went astray and he was lost. He said, وَكَثِيرًا مِنَ الشَّبَابِ يَسْتَضِيعُونَ. He said, and many of the youth, they go astray بسبب تقديسهم أو تقديسهم، بسبب تقديسهم له وإزالهم له غير منزلته. And many of the youth, they go astray because of their sanctification of him, and because they put him on a level that he is not deserving of. They put him on a level that he is not deserving of. To make you understand this level is that he was not an alim from the ulama. He was not an alim from the ulama. He was not a mufassir from the mufassirun or min al-mufassirin. He wasn't. He didn't have religious knowledge. He wasn't an alim, but he was adib. He was an adib. He was one who was eloquent. He was, like a literary individual. Okay, this was his thing, literature and the like, but not knowledge of the deen. So much so that Imam al-Bani rahimahullah ta'ala, shortly before his death, he said that Sayyid Qutb kana jahilan fi usul al-din wa furu'i. He said that Sayyid Qutb, he was ignorant in the fundamental principles of the deen and the other matters of the deen, the subsidiary matters of the religion also, he didn't have any knowledge of, he was ignorant of. Now, ala kulli hal, this is what the Shaykh is referring to when he says that they put him on a level that he's not deserving of. Now, they put him on a level that he's not deserving of. He says, فَلَا تَجِدُ الْمُعْتَزِلِ وَالْجَهْمِ فِي الْبِدْعَةِ. He said, you won't find a Mu'tazili nor a Jahmi in a bid'ah إِلَّا شَارَكَهُمْ فِيهَا, except that you'll find that he, Sayyid Qutb, he shared with them in this, he agreed with them in this. وَجَلَّاهَا لَهُمْ, and he magnified this for them. وَوَضَّحَهَا مَعَ الْأَسَفِ, and he foolishly and falsely tried to expound upon it. He not just agreed with it, but then he tried to explain why and expound upon it. And the Shaykh, he says, مَعَ الْأَسَفِ, and this is with great regret, and unfortunately this is the case. فَهُوَ يُنْكَرُ الْمِيزَانِ وَالْعَرْشِ وَالْأَشْيَاء كَثِيرًا. He said that he rejected the Mizan, and he rejected the Arsh. This is amazing. The Arsh, anyone who knows Ayatul Kursi knows it's Arsh. Na'am. Ala kulli. He rejected the Arsh, وَالْأَشْيَاء كَثِيرًا, and many things. And this is all of these are catastrophes. Na'am. Ma'aziq. Wallah. These are catastrophes. Na'am. And this is important. Anyone who knows the Kursi knows the Arsh. From the famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that he said, like the heavens and the earth compared to the Kursi is like a ring thrown in the desert, and the Arsh, and the Kursi compared to the Arsh is like a ring thrown in the desert. Right? So these are things that everyone knows, and you have to know. Right? فالإيمان بالميزان يوم القيامة كما جاء. So we have to believe in the Mizan as it has come. And the Mizan Yawm al-Qiyamah as it has come in those texts and those narrations. وَالْمُعْتَزِلَةِ وَالْجَهْمِيَّةِ وَأَهْلِ الضَّلَالِ, and the Mu'tazila and the Jahmiyyah and the people who are astray, وَالْبَاطِنِيَّةِ, and the people Batiniyya, يَنْكُرُونَ هَذِهِ الْأَشْيَاءِ, and they disapprove of these things. And before concluding, it also comes to mind, the ulama, to show you now the dangers of the likes of Sayyid Qutb, on how it's not just something that is just left in theory, because we already explained something that challenges and something that will undermine the proper aqeedah is something that is dangerous. Nah? But the ulama, hafidhahumullah, they say that the teachings of Sayyid Qutb, because he was a revolutionary, everyone understands this. He was a member of the Ikhwani Muslimin, the Muslim Brotherhood, right? And the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they consider the Ikhwan Muslimin to be from the Khawarij. This is a terroristic organization. Na'am. Yes, it's a terroristic organization. The ulama, they say that Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah ta'ala, they say that if you take his teachings and had to personify them, then they will be Osama bin Laden. They say that Osama bin Laden is like the personification of the teachings of Sayyid Qutb. Right? This is something that is tremendous. Because we know the evil that Osama bin Laden does. So a person wants to know what is his motivation, what is it that twisted his thinking, and that he became this individual, this dangerous individual, right? What was it that led him to that? Then it was this. And this is why the Muslim government in Egypt executed Sayyid Qutb, because of his writings and what he was promoting amongst the people, and his writings and encouraging them to do. Now, calling them to the way of the Khawarij and the like, because that's what they equate to. Now, granted, he never said, come to the way of the Khawarij. He never said, Ana Kharijiyun, ta'alu ma'i. He never said, I'm a Khariji, oh y'all come with me. Nah, Ahl Bid'ah, they don't give you that luxury. They'll say this is for Islam, this is, it's al-haq, this is to make the truth go forward, and so on and so forth, and then they bring all this corruption. Now, so you have to understand that. But the reality is that actually he was calling to the way of the Khawarij. He was reviving the way of the Khawarij. He not just revived the way of the Khawarij, but he made takfir worse than the Khawarij that came before him. Naam. His takfir, as ulama say, was worse than the Khawarij that came before him. Because the Khawarij of the old that came before him, their takfir was limited on certain groups, certain individuals, certain aspects of the population. Right? Amma Sayyid Qutb, his takfir was general. To the point where they know Muslims. I'll give you an example. He used to live in Chicago, Sayyid Qutb, for some years. He lived in Chicago. Now anyone who knows the history of Chicago knows that there have been Muslims in Chicago for a very long time. For a very long time. Meaning that what? The Muslims in Chicago predated Sayyid Qutb. There were masajid in Chicago when he was there in Chicago. Okay? I forget offhand, but this is around early to the early half of the 20th century. So the early half of the 20th century, right? He was in Chicago. Muslims were there, masajid were there. He said in his own memoirs, this is not something that is being launched against him. This is what he wrote. He said that he didn't pray Jumu'ah for the whole time he was there because he couldn't find no Muslims. There were no Muslims there. Yes. This is what he said. Make takfir on all the Muslims there. All the Muslims there. There's no Muslim governments. Things like this he used to say. No Muslim governments. And you have people running around saying the likes of these things. There are no Muslim governments. When you say there's no Muslim governments, what you're saying is that what? All them kuffar. That's what you're saying. A'udhu billah. This is takfir. Muslims don't do this. This is the way of the Khawarij, making takfir. Because you ask them, why no Muslim governments? They start mentioning sins. Oh, this one like this, one like that. Subhanallah. La. It's not the way of Ahlul Sunnah. We don't make takfir on the Muslims. And then from the people, from his followers, there was one in Egypt. His name was Majdi Fath Sayyid. He was there living in Tampa area. He said something, and they show you how tricky they are. He said something that was despicable, but most people ain't catch it. Right? Most people ain't catch it. He said, Al-Hukuma ma indahum deen. He said the government, they don't have deen. They don't got no religion. And then he went to explain it. He said, وَلَوْ كَانَ عِنْدَهُمْ دِينٌ فَاسِدٌ أَفْضَلُ مِمَّا عِنْدَهُمْ. He said, if they have bad religion, it'd be better than what they got, because they ain't got no religion. Subhanallah. Ran away from this man. Never stepped foot in his place again. Never stepped foot in his masjid again. Seriously. He made takfir on all the Muslims, all the Muslim governments. Because by saying they don't have religion, it's saying they're kuffar. And then by explaining what he's saying, if they have bad religion, it'd be better. Meaning that there was bad Muslims, it'd be better than what they is because they ain't Muslim. That's what that statement means. A'udhu billah. Who can say such a thing? Now we're not saying people are perfect, no. But even with their imperfections, they're not kuffar. Subhanallah. And this is not me saying this. Al-Alama, Imam al-Wadi'i, Muqbil, rahimahullah ta'ala, Sheikh Muqbil, rahimahullah ta'ala, he was from Yemen, Yemeni, right? Wadi'i, from Yemen. He spoke about Hosni Mubarak. And he said that there's no way we can say that Hosni Mubarak is a kafir. He said we can't say that. There's no way we can say that. There's no way we can say he's a kafir. No matter his faults. It's not perfect. May Allah Ta'ala rectify his affairs. May Allah Ta'ala preserve and rectify his affairs. May Allah Ta'ala guide him and guide all of us. Naam. He said there's no way we can ever say he's a kafir. No way. It's not possible. Not possible we can say he's a kafir. Naam. Now if anybody knows Sheikh Muqbil, he's not afraid to call a spade a spade. Sheikh Muqbil is not afraid to call a spade a spade. Okay? This is the reality. Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala was warning against Osama bin Laden decades ago, warning against Osama bin Laden. Now, so he's not scared to call a spade a spade. He's not scared. He's not afraid. But he said there's no way we can say that Hosni Mubarak is a kafir. There's no way we can say that. No way. Even with all the complaints, whatever, there's no way we can say he's a kafir. There's not no way. He's a Muslim. Because if he's a kafir and the Hukuma is a kafir, then what you saying? Egypt is a kafir country? That's what that means. That's what that kalam means. Egypt is a kafir country. If you're saying this like this with all the hukam, then there is no Muslim country. Then what are you supposed to do? Subhanallah. How do we understand that in light of the Prophet's statement, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي ظاهرين على الحق, that there will not cease to be a group of my ummah who will be clear and apparent upon the truth? Now, how do we understand that? Huh? Muslims are going to be present. The nations are going to be present. The Prophet ﷺ explained to us how it will go, right? That there will be khulafa, and then there will come a time where there will be muluk. There will be kings. Right? But the Prophet ﷺ, he never made takfir on the muluk. He never made takfir and said, but when the kings come, there will be no more Islamic country. He never said that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ummah is present, but yeah. So you see now how these people go so far astray. How they go so far astray, and the evil of what they say, and how it translates into horrible things. How it translates into horrible things. Now, and with all of this, him making takfir, Sayyid Qutb making takfir on all the ummah and so on and so forth, the ulama still didn't make takfir on him. They still didn't say Sayyid Qutb is a kafir. They still didn't say that. They still didn't make takfir on him. They still say he's a Muslim, rahimahullah. Sahibul bid'ah, he was an innovator, no doubt, but he was Muslim, rahimahullah. Now, in fact, can't put it better than the great Imam of our time, Shaykh Uthaymeen, Imam Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, the one who, the Alama Muhammad Abdul Wahhab al-Banna, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great alim from Egypt. He said about Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that he was the most knowledgeable man of our time. Others of the ulama said he was like the Imam al-Shafi'i of our time. That's tremendous. That's tremendous, subhanallah. Imam Uthaymeen, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said about Sayyid Qutb, he said, لَوْلَا وَرَعْ لَكَفَرْنَاهِ. He said, if it wasn't from wara', if it wasn't from being abstentious and abstaining, he said that yes, we would have made takfir on Sayyid Qutb. Because this is to the extent of his mistakes. But with that, you still see the rifq, you still see the gentleness of Ahlul Sunnah. Even with all that, they still didn't say he's a kafir. But the other side, they don't show us that. So Osama bin Laden, may Allah Ta'ala guide him or break his back, he made takfir on Shaykh Uthaymeen. He made takfir on Shaykh bin Baz. Now, he said they were kuffar. And we know his way. And this is why when he came to Shaykh Mukbil rahimahullah ta'ala, and he tried to throw around money, because you know in Damaj, there's not a lot of money going on right there. Right? He tried to throw around money. And he said, we'll give you money. But you know, people, they can't just be sitting around all day studying Quran and studying Hadith, you know, and Islamic sciences. I give you this money, but you gotta, you know, start training them. Let them train for jihad, things like this. Shaykh Mukbil rahimahullah ta'ala, he understood what he was talking about, and he understood the realities of him. He told him, no, we don't want your money. He said, we don't want your money. We're happy with what we got. We don't want your money. There's not going to be a training camp. You're not going to turn Damaj into a training camp. No. You reject it. He said, but I really want to leave you the money. He said, no. You still reject it. We don't want nothing from you. You have to get away from us. Now, the ulama, they call Osama bin Laden the shaitan. They say he's a devil. He said, no, we don't want nothing from you. Anyway, how deceiving people are, he got slick. He tried to leave the money anyway. Thinking the sheikh was going to take it. So the sheikh, the final rejection of this individual's money, showing him now, no, we don't need your money. We'll keep eating just beans and rice with no meat, and drinking just water. We don't want nothing from you. Period. Shaykh Mukbil rahimahullah ta'ala, so in case people didn't get soft and didn't get start sympathizing because of, you know, his supposed generosity. And you heard the strings that was attached, right? It turns into a terrorist camp and gave you money. So Shaykh Mukbil rahimahullah ta'ala, he got up on the minbar in Jum'ah and he explained what had happened. And then he mentioned him and he said, وَأَمَّا هَذَا Osama bin Laden لَا جَزَاهُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا. He says, in this one, Osama bin Laden, may Allah not reward him with good. May Allah not reward him with good. For this evil gesture he trying to use the money to lead people astray. May Allah not reward him with good. To make it clear the reality of this individual. Ala kulli hal, it is important that we warn against not just the ideologies, but we warn against those people who spread these ideologies. Because bid'ah, as we said, it doesn't have legs. It's not going to walk up to you and tag on your thumb and say, hey, I'm bid'ah, let me jump in you. Nah. It's not going to do that. But it gets carried to you by what? By people who have these ideologies. You see? That's how it comes to you. The book is not going to get up and walk over to you and say, hey, put me in your library. No, but what? An individual is responsible for that. From the printing of it, from the distribution of it, from the selling of it, from giving it as a gift, from encouraging you to buy it, so on and so forth. Now, so you have to fight against those people who spread these false ideologies, and you have to fight against these people who preach these ideologies. This is how we're going to save the ummah from the grip of terrorism. This is how we're going to save the world from the grip of terrorism. Is that the Muslims have to be educated. What is their religion? Because without education now, anybody can come and say anything and you don't know. So you say, okay, sound good. You said Islam a few times. You said Muslim a couple times. You said the Prophet ﷺ and you mentioned Allah. So okay, maybe. But if you know what Islam is, then you'll be like Sheikh Muqbil. As soon as it comes, now, we don't want that. Nope. You can go now. You see? Very clear. But that's because of what? Because of the knowledge. So the best way to safeguard the Muslims from falling into the likes of this is from knowledge. The best way to save our youth from being brainwashed so that they go out and they commit suicide bombings and acts of terrorism is that what we inform them. They have knowledge. You see? That's why they don't go to shuyukh, for lack of a better term. They don't go to older men. You don't find older men going and putting bombs on themselves. Why? Because they know better. They go to youth who are impressionable, youth who they can brainwash, who they can mislead. So the best thing we can do for our youth is what? Teaching the true Islam. So if somebody comes in one of these pamphlets, we having a secret meeting, the youth is already going to know, ain't no secret meeting from Islam. I ain't going to that. Yeah? If no one shows up, where the recruits? No recruits. No recruits who won't commit acts of terrorism. Nobody. So this is the best way we can fight against the terrorists. This is the best way we fight against the terrorists. Now, ala kulli hal, the teachings of Sayyid Qutb are dangerous because this is what they lead to. This is what they translate into, and this is dangerous. So when it comes to these affairs of aqidah and iman and the likes of these things, the Shaykh says, "Wal iman bihi wa tasdiq bihi," and we believe in it and we affirm its truthfulness. Wa i'radu amman radda dhalik, and we turn away from everybody who rejects it. We turn away from them. Now, we don't care who they is. We don't care who they are. We turn away from them. وَتَرْكْ مُجَادَلَتِهِ, and we leave off arguing with them. And Shaykh Rabi' Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he ends it by saying, عَرَفْتُمْ مَا يُقَالُ فِي الْمُجَادَلَةِ, and you already know what's been said about argumentation in religion, that's something that the general affair and the general rule is that we don't argue and debate about religion. We don't argue and debate. Allah Ta'ala said it. Prophet ﷺ said it. This was the way of the Sahaba. Khalas. There's no room for debate. It's done. It's confirmed. There's no room for debate. Those who want to debate, then obviously they have lost their religion. So as the great Imam, he told the one who came to him and said, I would like to debate with you about the religion. He told him, as far as me, I know my religion. If you have lost yours, then I suggest you go find it. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم جزاكم الله خيرا.